Card Talk told you the Bengals are going.
Card Talk told you.
Lou was the only person on this show to pick the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, this is pre-playoffs. He originally picked the Bears, so we can't give him too much credit. But when the playoffs started, he said Packers, Bengals, and the Bengals are going. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Card Talk. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tyler and Lou. And we have an interesting episode today, something we've never done before. We're going to bring on some guests for some live Q&A on the show. Tyler, I believe this is anyone that's won, a play of the week in the last 6 or 7 weeks or so?
I believe that's the case. Yeah, we rolled out the play of the week POAP. So we got a little IG DM crew going on. There's people that are holding out. We're going to do a little dinner, but we're having them on for a little Q&A sesh. Wanted to break it up. So we'll have some of that crew on. We're excited about it. Should be good.
Very cool. All right, so we will get into that in just a second. But before we bring those guests on, we want to start. I think we have to start with the NFL playoffs because the Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Super Bowl.
Before we go there, can I just say one thing that's on my mind?
Yeah. Sorry, Ty.
Yeah, Ryan he's on one today.
But we just know what we need to talk about. We only have 8 minutes.
I was singing.
It's quick time, and this is like a different left field kind of thing. This was one of the more disturbing weekends for me as a sport fan. I woke up Saturday morning to disturbing news, and a lot of people did. If you follow footy, which we talk about on this podcast a tremendous amount, and I'm a Manchester United fan at that, and Mason Greenwood, he got arrested on Saturday for rape and assault. 20-year-old striker, arguably the young face of Manchester United, and by and large was like in line to take over for Kane at England. And it's really disturbing. And what comes of it, if it plays out, he deserves what comes his way. And I think there's been a lot of that in footy. And I just wanted to address it because it's been weird. He's someone that I've championed like an immense amount on this podcast. And the images and stuff that his, I believe, girlfriend or whatever shared was really tough. And we joke on this podcast a lot, and I just want to start with a serious tone of like, I'm a Manchester United fan. We throw a lot of shit around. That was, and it continues to bother me. And I just wanted to address it, that there's no room for that. And as dudes talking about sports and all that, I don't condone any of that. And I literally own thousands and thousands of dollars of his cards, and I hope they're all worth $0 and that he never plays for Manchester United again. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. And now let's go talk, because we talk about footy a lot on this, and I'd imagine there's people that listen to this that have also supported him or that off of my back. And yeah, I just want to address it. That's bullshit. And he may be a troubled young man, but he's fucked people up and in a bad way and doesn't look good. So on to the next. We were just joking about NFL getting into pot and all this and that, and we throw a lot of jokes and we talk banter, that no room and no time for. And I haven't tweeted about it. Whenever there's negative stuff, I don't really know how to address it, but I wanted to come on and boom, say that. And I'm still a United supporter. Now on to the NFL.
That shit was super crazy. I saw they threw him out of FIFA too.
Fucking yeah, he will never. He
done,
should be nowhere. Nowhere.
Anyway.
Yeah, terrible situation. Yeah, Ty, thanks for appreciate you bringing it up and addressing it. Yeah, I mean, hard to really transition out of that, but do want to get a couple minutes of NFL chatter before we bring some guests on, because I know Lou and I talked a little bit about it before the NFL play, before the big game, but Lou's been tweeting about it. Lou's been putting on IG Card Talk told you the Bengals are going.
Card Talk told you.
Lou was the only person on this show to pick the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, this is pre-playoffs. He originally picked the Bears, so we can't give him too much credit. But when the playoffs started, he said Packers, Bengals, and the Bengals are going.
They're going, bro. They're not only going, they were down 21-3 to Patty Mahomes at Arrowhead.
They're going in style with the coolest quarterback in the world.
Yeah. Arguably the coolest quarterback-receiver combo in a very, very long time. And on top
of that, the coolest quarterback-wide receiver dad combo.
Because the pops are hanging?
Yeah, the pops, both of them are fire.
I actually always think, was it? I could be super wrong. Edwards-Helaire, was he their guy too?
He was on the LSU national title team. So was Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, but Jefferson wasn't playing. Like Edwards-Helaire was on the other side of that game. Those boys are like 24 months from winning the Natty together. I was just watching the game and like seeing Edwards-Helaire making plays, and then those two like.
The 2019 LSU football team is like one of the best football teams of all time, I think.
Yeah,
like literally, they were really good.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How about for all the I bash NFL a decent bit about the regular season. I don't know if I've watched 6 sporting events in a row that have been that good.
Gas.
Maybe, and then may never again.
Yeah, maybe the best ever. Like some of the best we've ever seen for playoff games.
Because the first game, you're like, all right, runs over 21-3. Like fucking, all right, we got a snooze fest here. Get us to the next game. No.
Nope.
Action.
What's interesting about the Bengals, and this is not a sports analytics show, so can't get into that too far. But what's interesting about the Bengals is their number one thing against them is that they have no offensive line. And it just doesn't seem to matter. Like Joey's just going to figure it out. Like he's just going to get the first down. They won that game. That game was won when they had it was like 3rd and 11 or something like that. And the Chiefs had 2 guys coming off the edge. Chris Jones like has Burrow wrapped up, and he breaks out and just runs for the first down. It's just like you can't like. There's nothing you can do when that stuff's going down. Like
sometimes it's just fate, just destiny.
We're not making picks this week, right? We can do that next week, but
True.
I mean, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, isn't that Floyd's on that team? Donald and Von Miller.
Doesn't scare me.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Doesn't scare me.
That
game was great too. I think we should have a conversation at some point about how the NFL and refs sometimes just let delay games go when they feel like it, and like I just don't get it. There was like 6 or 7 on the Rams that just weren't called.
I don't. I would just go to holding. I mean, like.
Holding's another one.
Like
they
you can't even go down the conversation of holding in the NFL.
Crazy. Real quick.
There was a stat. Ohio State. Yeah. Ohio State went an entire Big Ten season without getting a single holding penalty call.
Yeah, I know. They never held in a whole season. Look at Ryan.
All right, we got guests. Got guests.
On that note, we'll stop that nonsense. Got some guests. We're going to get into these. We're gonna get into these guests. Come on, bring them on. Ask a couple questions and just get through these relatively quick.
Nice.
So we'll.
I think we have like 10 people, right?
Yeah, 10 people. All right, so we'll start with a good friend of the show. We'll bring on Roberto.
Oh,
so it's at Storybook Cards. What's going on, brother?
What's up, boys? Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What's
good morning by you, West Coast. You're pulling up on us early.
Yeah, it's early, but I'm glad I got to catch the first little bit of that because there was some gold in that.
I didn't realize. Were you hanging? Is everyone backstage kind of tapped in right now?
I was in for like 2 minutes, yeah.
Nice.
But I caught some of the heat.
Where I went? Because we haven't spoke about it yet, but fuck.
Well, I know you guys are on a tight schedule, so I'll fire off real quick. Obviously, we've had a crazy 2.5, 3 years. Ryan, you much longer, being in the grind longer than most of us. But I'm curious if you guys could go back to 2019 and tell yourself something about the next couple of years, or give yourself some advice on how to navigate the next couple of years in the hobby. What would it be?
Mine would be acquire stuff you like. Acquire stuff you like, right? Because I think that I sit here now, like during the show, I start going through my stuff, and play of the week's amazing. Arbitraging is amazing. I think there's so much fun, so much stuff to learn, what have you. But I think everyone, that's amazing, Mug. Everyone has stuff that they like. It's happening in NFTs too, right? Like the financial, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to do this because of the money is there. Cards, it got a ton of people into it. NFTs too, but there's just, everyone has something, whether it's Marvel PMG, whether it's a random Ryan's collection of Ohio State stuff. I would do more of stuff that I like. Like I would have a Randy Moss refractor for no reason other than I think he was just the coolest cat to ever walk the field. You know what I mean? I didn't do enough of that. I did it in some of footy, but like Chris Kreider, I would have been buying then. So that would be my initial take. It's stuff you like because it lasts.
It's wild how much the noise influences your buying decisions if you're not paying attention to what you like.
Yeah.
That's literally the thing I was gonna say. I was like, ignore the noise. Like I was talking to some friends this weekend about cards because they're like into it, but like not necessarily. Like they kind of just like pay attention. And I was like, yeah, I think the thing I do is I just get in my own head. Like there's just so much noise going on, and there's so much different thing. There's so many different things, so many different opinions, all that stuff. It's like you just get lost in the sauce and you just talk yourself out of things. Like the number one thing is like just ignore the noise. And I feel like if you trust your gut, we've talked about it a lot, but like if I trusted my gut a lot more, I'd be in a different spot with cards.
It's almost like talk yourself into things, not out of things. We do more of, we got this hypothesis, we believe in our gut, let's talk ourselves out of it, versus we got this hypothesis, how do you talk yourself into acting on it?
Yeah.
Right?
I would have said buy the goats. Buy the things that are recession proof, buy the things everybody wants, right? That goes back to Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry, those guys, right? Those are the things everybody always wants. Anytime you're trying to sell something, anytime you're trying to trade something, that's where conversations start. That's where I think those things are certainly the safest. So that would have been the message to myself, which is, I think Tyler and Lou's, answers are right up there, and I would agree with all of those. I would have just said buying the goats would have been the piece of advice I would have given myself.
Cool. Right on, boys. Well, much love. And
Roberto.
Lou, great job getting out of the Sam Darnold kaboom market at the Apex. I applaud you. Ooh, that's my jam.
Let's talk.
Let's
Let's
do it.
talk.
I think that's the only time I've ever gotten out of anything at the Apex, the Sam Darnold kaboom.
Well, feels great to be on the other end of that.
See you, bro.
Have a good one.
Peace.
Thanks.
That's funny. All right.
All right. So Jay, I think we've got
Bring in Stu.
going back to back. All right. Scoo Baca.
What's up, boys?
What's
going
up,
on?
bro?
How we doing?
Good.
Good,
How
how
you
you
doing?
I have a question for
Very
you.
good.
Where did
Yes,
you get
sir.
your Bears helmet there? Is that like a Bears like helmet
You
cloth?
know what?
Like what's
I'm-
going
I
on?
think that's like a wooden carve out, bro.
I know it's kind of cool.
I'm in my boss's office. I don't even
Even
know
better.
what
Perfect.
you're talking
Let's
about.
go.
Oh, right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Are
fine.
you
that
at a
looks-
shop? Are
that
you
looks
dealing
like
with
it's painted
cards
by a
with the
child.
glove?
No. The glove is. I just sliced my thumb open.
Oh,
Jesus.
like
yeah,
this
dude,
morning?
I'm playing through an injury. Yeah, like 7 minutes ago.
Playing through an
I was
injury.
like,
Fuck,
I gotta
day to
clean
day,
this up 'cause
questionable
I gotta get on this
return?
podcast.
Let's
I'm playing through
go.
it. Not even day to
I
day.
respect it. I
Listed
respect
as
it.
day to day, but the fans know that I'm playing.
Exactly. Game time decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So
All right.
what's your
What do we
question?
got? Thanks for coming up.
All right. So my question is, I guess I've been in the hobby for the last 4 years. I would say through the most part, like the trends, obviously it's happening quicker where cards shoot up or down. But there's days like Sunday where it looks like all of a sudden Joe Burrow is going to win and everything is skyrocketing. Like you go on eBay, you click to buy something, it's already bought, it's already gone. Couple other days I can remember that happened, like the day Kobe passed, everything was like shooting up. And then also, I don't know, this past All-Star break for baseball, Brennan Davis in the Futures game hit 2 homers. That's a Cubs reference
Yep.
there.
Yeah, that was a big time Cubs reference. Like he jumped a little bit, but not that much.
No,
I remember
I'll
the
tell
day.
you,
I remember it like being a thing of being like, this is happening right now.
I was at a show the following day, and I was picking up Bowman Chrome refractors for like $8, and they were going for 45. So
That's crazy.
they
I
went
remember
up,
being at the Dallas show when the Stafford trade was
Yeah.
being rumored and then happened, and everyone was just running around looking for Stafford cards.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, when those frenzies occur, what do you guys do? Do you back off? Because sometimes they don't work out. And, I don't know, the guy could get hurt still, obviously. But yeah, what's your guys' play on that?
I know for me, I try not to buy in those moments. I try not to even buy in like the surrounding areas of those moments, like before and after. Because it really takes like, there's of course these moments where these guys go crazy and like stuff happens. And like the Burrow one's a good example of when you can kind of predict a little bit. Like I kind of was. Shout out to the guy who I was trying to make a deal with last week for my Mahomes and I passed on. I'm sure like that guy's feeling really good. I'm feeling really bad. But like, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like you can kind of see the moments, but inside, like right after Burrow wins, like, to be honest, like I love Burrow, is it going to be a lot? Is his cards going to be a lot higher, or is Prism's going to be that much more higher if they lose next week to the Rams? Like, I don't know. So it's a little bit tough buying in those frenzy moments because it's basically just a race to the top and then a race back down to the bottom.
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
So
Ty.
I won't say I'm not guilty of it. Like FOMO happens heavily in, as a general rule, you want to sell into strength and buy into weakness as a general
Absolutely.
rule.
Yeah.
But FOMO is a real thing. I saw a quote this morning that I think is a good way to put it. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. So like in our head, we're like, oh, we missed the moment. We missed the moment. But like it doesn't, a lot of times it's very negligible. But yeah, I've definitely been on a hype train and bought stuff when everyone else is and then sold. But if you can take a moment, realize that tomorrow morning will come and you're probably not going to care. That's always like hey, just think about 48 hours from now. Will you still care? And if the answer is no, like just get through that. Go do something else.
Yeah. I guess with the Burrow, though, it's like I was pretty sure the Chiefs were going to win. Right. And then all of a sudden it's like this second-year kid is going to be in the Super Bowl. Like, so the 48, I like the 48-hour rule because I think, especially for Brendan Davis, like people generally just forget about prospects. But that being said, like with Burrow, I think he's kind of entered a new tier of like, whoa, this kid's probably in the top 5 right now.
Yeah.
Or not. Yeah. Sorry,
go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, I mean, I would for sure agree with you on the top 5 Burrow statement. I think most of us would probably agree on this, that Burrow is a top 5 QB at this point. I think the other big thing is, what'd you say?
I think we should slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
That's
like
a little bit of
just because the guy makes it a Super Bowl.
Going into next season, Burrow's.
I'm the biggest Burrow guy around. Second biggest behind you. It's a little quick to be like
who you
certified top
who you putting
5.
above him next year?
I don't know, man. Here comes the classic Ryan Johnson. Like, name 5 quarterbacks.
Name all the quarterbacks.
But like,
bro,
I think we
come
just gotta
on,
be
man.
careful. I think we have to just be careful with like the hype and all that
I
stuff.
agree.
If they get blown out of the building next Sunday, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, that was a cool little run," and then you forget about it.
I guess
that's just as likely as they turn around and win.
Completely agree. What I would say is over the next 6 months, do you feel there's going to be days where people care far less about Burrow than today and the lead up to the Super Bowl, even if he wins or loses?
It's different though if he wins.
But conviction, because he won one game, has
Not
your
one game,
conviction changed?
3 games
Correct.
in a row.
Got it. But we're talking about the fact that he won the NFC or AFC, whatever, NFC championship, right? I think. And was the AFC? I don't know. 4 weeks after the Super Bowl, in the middle of the summer, when no one's talking about football, I promise you that there's going to be a moment that someone's going to be looking to offload something at a similar price, is what I would say. We're 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, and a second-year quarterback who just won is going to the Super Bowl. Like, everything couldn't be hotter. There will be a moment that is less. Tom Brady had multiple rings, and people weren't caring about his cards.
You know how everyone said that the Chiefs were going to win like 27 Super Bowls, and then they've played 4 home AFC Championship games in a row, and have only gone to the Super Bowl one time? Kind of like that.
Twice.
Whatever. 1-1. Kind of like that. Everyone just assumes that everyone assumes
Patty
that
Mahomes
is
may be more my man from the Bills than Tom Brady.
Cool.
So I have a different opinion on this. I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't agree as much with Lou and Tyler on this conversation. If Joe Burrow wins the Super Bowl and beats the Rams and wins 4 straight games with the team they've got at the moment, like they're definitely, I think they're going to be the underdog again. If he wins the Super Bowl, I think last weekend's prices will be cheap a month from now. I don't think like Burrow stuff will continue to rise. He will be the number 1 selling person at the National if he wins the Super Bowl. So if you don't believe Joe Burrow is going to win the Super Bowl, then yeah, I probably wouldn't buy into the hype now. But I have a hard time believing that Joe Burrow winning the Super Bowl, a national championship, a Heisman, which has never been done, being the number 1 pick going to the Super Bowl in his first full year as a starter, considering it tore his ACL in his rookie year, all of these things adding up, that kind of success. The only person that would mimic is Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes.
My thing is, if you're a Burrow collector and like want to get on that train, sure. If we're talking about making like investments and like where it's at,
Yeah, you have to be
got
like
it. When
sound
Aaron
mind.
Rodgers wins MVP this year and is 8-0 going into next year with whatever team he is, like, wouldn't you rather buy an Aaron Rodgers right now than a Burrow? Like, meaning the market is up here on
Sure.
Burrow.
It's a patience and
If
like
we're gonna
Yeah, but the market's
exactly,
up
if you're gonna
here,
buy,
but it can go up here. Just because it's high already
got
doesn't
it.
mean
Patty
it can't get
Mahomes
higher.
in the middle of the season this year was finished and his cards were being dumped. And he
yeah.
was coming off of 2 straight Super Bowls and a chip and an MVP and the greatest that he's ever done, and his cards were being dumped. And so when the Bengals are 4-4 next year and have no line and Jamar Chase is underperforming and they won the Super Bowl, I still think it's a better time to buy Burrow than right now.
You got to be the whole point of this conversation is like we're talking about hype cycles. We're at like almost the peak of the hype cycle, so you just got to be careful. That's all.
I guess in this last thing, because I know I'm taking a lot of time, but
Okay.
I guess
Well,
I would
tell Jay
say
to relax.
Yeah, we're running along.
because the hype cycle I think is definitely one thing. Like I got caught in the Tannehill hype cycle a little bit. As I had Tyler's
I
back. That was my
apologize.
initial-
That's on me.
Ty.
No,
That's
that was
on
my
me.
initial,
People.
message.
Ty's
No,
killing
no,
people
no.
out
I
here.
was on it before. I had like a bunch of SGC graded stuff from the summer because I was like, they're gonna be good. But I guess we're making the Super Bowl kind of bumping up on the top prospect list. Obviously, unfortunately, Kobe passing. Like, I feel like those aren't hype moments as much as like something's changed and
I
will
guess
be
what I would
different.
say is
You know what I
if
mean?
you are able to play long timelines like Ryan, I think, does inherently, then the hype cycle becomes less irrelevant. If you're talking about buying a Burrow and sticking and playing it out through his career, I think it's a different thing.
Yeah.
If you're talking about making an investment and you're trying to make some money on in a short term, that's where my response to this would be grounded. I think
Yeah.
Ryan defaults into like, I might hold this card for 5 or 6 years, in which case I would say that shouldn't impact like the time right now if you're willing to go there.
I'm glad that we all vehemently
Gotcha.
disagree on this show. It makes me happy. Actually.
Ryan's
We
also
are,
wearing his jersey.
We are a couple minutes behind, so
Yeah,
we're
sorry
going to move
about
to the
that.
next one. But thank you
You're
again
good,
for
Scoop.
coming on.
Scoop, good luck with the thumb, bro. That's a tough way to start the
Yeah,
day.
Jesus.
Cuts on the fingers are no
It
fun.
still came in. All right,
Yeah,
Jay,
dude.
Playing hurt.
who do we got next? Is it sports card therapist? You get sports card therapist. It is.
Let's go.
All right, Rob, what's going on?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
What
How
up,
are
Rob?
you?
Never better.
Good, man. Appreciate what you guys are doing. I love it. So the question is, what was the biggest thing that you learned from 2021, and how are you applying that to 2022?
It's a great question.
That's a good question.
Biggest thing I learned in 2021 is what I would say: focus. If you focus, the opportunity, you can find the opportunities in whatever it may be. I think the world is getting noisier than ever, working from home. There's more distractions than ever. Whether it's this cycle has matured in sports cards specifically or NFTs or anything, there's just so much, whether it's what damn TV show you want to watch. It's harder than ever to like pick a thing, focus, and be good at it. And I think what I've learned in 2021 is that if you can do that, there's real like fruitfulness. I'm someone that's always wanted to try and do everything. But when I see play of the week every single week, I'm like, oh man, it's because people focus and have a hypothesis and run it out versus like trying to be everywhere, do everything, accomplish everything, and be good at everything.
Yeah, I think that is very good advice. I think the biggest thing I learned in 2021 in reference to cards was like allowing my passion to just be a passion and not let it like take too much of my brain power and like my time. You can focus on stuff without like overcoming every single thing you're doing. Like I tried to do a lot of different stuff in cards last year, and I kind of ended up at the conclusion like, oh, I should just like go back to doing what I was doing in 2020 and like just having fun with it and like keeping it simple rather than trying to make it too difficult for myself. Obviously, Ryan's gonna have a different answer than me because it's his full-time job. But like, I know for me, I was trying to get into different stuff and I was trying to do, different play. Like there was just too much going on. I think I kind of decided to, like Tyler said, focus a little bit and allow my passion to just be like a fun little thing I do and keep it that way.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty good advice. I would agree with a lot with what Tyler and Lou said about focusing. I think when you like Lou said, we have a lot of different things going on. So really focusing and, trying to hone in on improving things where we can is definitely something I want to do in 2022. But I think the big thing, Lou kind of talked about this earlier, would be like trusting my gut more. Um, you know, it's helped me get to where I've been able to get to. But like Tyler said it earlier too, like with the noise, there's so much noise. Like focus, really concentrating, trusting your gut, and believing in my intuition would definitely be something, right? The market last year was crazy. I mean, you started January, February, March just skyrocketing. Then March PSA shuts down, the market dips, and then it corrects. Then there's a bounce back at the national. Just it was kind of all over the place. But really, I feel like I've got a good understanding of what the market that I know, the stuff I specialize in. So really focusing on that in 2022 is definitely going to be my goal.
Perfect. Love it. Thanks a lot, guys. Would love to get you guys on my podcast eventually. I love what you guys are doing.
Let's set it up.
I'm in. I'm in. If the three of us can coordinate, that would be amazing.
Yep.
I'm in. Rob, thanks for coming by. Hope you have a great day.
Thanks,
Thanks a lot, guys.
See you.
All right. So
Rob.
So we're 3 down. I've got a couple left here. So next up is going to be Rick Ellis.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What
Rick?
up?
How are you guys doing today?
Better now.
Hanging.
Excellent. All right, so my question was about soccer cards, but it has more to do with the timing and what the World Cup looks like this year. So I think a lot of people are kind of hanging on until 2026 when the World Cup's in the U.S., but we have a big moment at the end of the year here. We're going to have the first World Cup within this current market where, cards are crazy and react crazy to these live events. I think that there's going to be a big run up in the summer, and I'm a little worried, maybe not worried, but I think that the peak before the peak might actually be the peak this summer. And I think that we might have kind of a sell-off as we get towards the big event. So knowing that this is the first World Cup that we've had in the current state of the market with cards, and where we've had 2 Super Bowls, going to be 3 NBA championships, what are you guys expecting for this? And also taking into account that this is happening in November this year, where it normally happens in the summer, and we're right in the middle of NFL season, we're right in the middle of NBA season, all that kind of extra noise that the World Cup usually doesn't have to deal with.
So if Lou and Ty, you're good with me going first?
Yeah.
Absolutely, Ryan.
So I don't think I agree with the theory you're saying, but I don't think that's different than any other sport.
That's fair.
Right? The journey brings more hype to the card than the actual event itself, right? Cards are like winning is built into Luka Doncic's prices.
Yeah.
He doesn't sell for $225,000+ for NT autos for what he's done so far. Winning is built into it. So like there's going to be a major dump of Burrow stuff in the next, not necessarily a dump, but there's going to be a big sell off of Burrow stuff in the next couple weeks. His stuff's through the roof. It's insane right now.
Highest volume of Burrow cards sold ever will be in the next 2 weeks, 100%.
Yeah, agreed. So like getting up to the event, you're going to see a lot of people try to cash in on the hype. And then the event, like if Burrow wins the Super Bowl, his stuff will be hot for, like I said, I think it's still going to be hot. It'll be hot going into the national. But like Tyler said, there's going to be a cool off on it. Leading up to the event is oftentimes, like you said, I agree with the theory. It's oftentimes the best time to sell if you're going to get rid of it. Now, there may be a one-off scenario where somebody has a major game and a major, has a big game and a major spot, and that could impact their market a little bit more. But yeah, I would say typically the best time to sell is leading up to it.
Yeah, that's kind of like my takeaway from. I don't know anything about soccer, so I'm not going to pretend to talk about that from like a knowledgeable standpoint. But like the thing I was going to say was, I think a lot of people are playing the same game in terms of like trying to find the right moment to jump in on a guy.
Yep.
And that's extremely dangerous, number one. And number two, I don't think basketball is a prime. As soon as you said it, I thought about the bubble with like LeBron and everything. When they were actually gonna win the finals, there was like no bump to my knowledge, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like this weird game. If you're playing the game of like trying to get to an event, and this is something I also learned last year too, is like if you're playing the game of trying to sell leading up to the big event, like it's basically like you're asking for trouble. So like I would actually say the better way to approach it is like don't do that at all. Like don't play to sell for the leading up to this event, because I think you're gonna run into trouble where if they get knocked in the group stage, if someone doesn't play well right away, it kind of completely derails the entire trail that they've been building up. So,
yep, for sure.
Yeah, I don't worry about the in between other seasons. I don't
Sure.
meaning I don't worry about the timing per se. I actually think between it'll end up being nice for people watching from Thanksgiving to Christmas. I also believe over the next 5 years and leading up to World Cup, we're going to see this nice thing. Like, I think Premier League and footy in general, the fact that it's largely mornings and or middays US based is a nice thing, because most people are working from home by and large that are fans of that and can throw the TV on in the background. So I think that's nice. The run up, kind of to the point Ryan made, the journey is always better than the moment, right? The priced in aspect. What I see and what I believe in and what I've always said, yes, this World Cup is going to be important. We've covered it at 1:37 p.m. I'm incredibly fascinated, if you look behind the scenes, of the money that's changed hands from an ownership perspective of all of these footy clubs around the world.
Sure.
And then you think about things like the Olympics and the World Cup and corporate dollars and what those means. You put all that together, pretty much the day the World Cup ends in 2022, we're going to have full-blown programs being built around the sport here in the U.S. MLS is going hard on expansions. I think so. I just think in the macro, playing invest with a focus on 2026 of the core countries and those players is the strategy. Between now and the end of the year, I think World Cup will pop. I think key players, Neymar, what have you. Like, if you're prospecting and thinking over the next 5 years and American guys, that's how I'm generally thinking about it. But sure, there will probably be a sell-off, and the World Cup will come and go and be a big moment, and USA will probably not get out of the group stage. But that's my take as it stands right now. I think more of the day after the 2022 World Cup than the lead up to it.
Cool. All right. I appreciate you guys' input.
Good seeing you, man.
Thanks for coming on.
All right. See you guys later.
Peace.
All right. So we're going to get to the next one right away. We're a little bit behind. We're going to bring on Mason F.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good.
Jason's got some serious feedback right now.
Yeah, Jay, we got some feedback.
Sorry, guys.
Echo. You're good.
Better now?
Yeah, let's rock it.
Okay. Should I kill it? Because I can kill the echo feature if you want to restart this.
If you can kill the echo feature, you should.
Jay, do you need to hop in here? Go producer Jay.
I think he's coming back.
T. Call it T. It's a 30.
Yeah.
It's not a full?
No, it's a 30.
Sorry, guys.
All
We're
right.
good.
Oh, we're
What's
back.
happening?
That was a good little quick. That was Omaha. He said Omaha.
Yeah, it's a good job, lady.
Yeah.
Heck of an audible. All right, Jason.
All right, let's
What's going
Show
on?
keeps getting better and better, guys. Love it.
Thank you.
Want to talk about sealed wax.
Nice.
Been some tough scenes in the singles market in 2021. I think we've all learned some lessons. People bouncing around, maybe doing different things they should and trying to chase the dragon.
Yeah.
Found sealed wax is kind of an interesting way to stay in the game, with also finding a little bit of more of a safe haven than chasing after individual players. There's the obvious supply dynamics around it, but would love to sort of get your thoughts, how you think about different products, and then specifically around LaMelo. It's really unique to have one of the top guys be a major redemption in products, and his Prism redemption is expiring at the end of this year, around September. And just would love to hear more thoughts about sealed wax, your thoughts on it, how to approach it, and how it can be kind of an alternative to singles to in a tough market.
I love that. Thanks, Jay. It's a thoughtful question. Rye, you want to kick us off? I have initial thoughts, but I think you're going to have some great thoughts here.
So I've talked about this before on the show for sure, that I believe in sealed wax 100%. It's not as enjoyable to collect per se as a LaMelo Ball National Treasures patch auto, but there's a couple of reasons I'm super, super, super bullish on sealed product. One is, like you said, the supply aspect, especially on the bigger products, right? The National Treasures, the Flawless, the Immaculate, the Prisms, Selects, Optics. That's typically where I'm starting in terms of, hey, what are the things I'm looking to hold on to? And then the other aspect of it that I think is often overlooked is breakers. Breakers run a lot of the card market now. There's a reason, like breakers are a big part of the card market. The ability to break massive cases for a fraction of the price, chasing $1 million cards is a super appetizing thing to a group of people, let's say the hobby or the business side of this, that is interested in gambling, right? Because that's essentially what this is. Sports betting, opening boxes. This is going to continue to grow and grow in the next couple of years. But also, like we've said before, is you're betting on the class, not necessarily the person. So if you like LaMelo Ball and you're sold LaMelo Ball's good, but LaMelo Ball decides to retire and be the CEO of Big Baller Brand out of nowhere, and Anthony Edwards becomes a star, well, you bought the National Treasures case where Anthony Edwards is at, not just the LaMelo Ball who's no longer playing in the NBA. So those are really the three main reasons. The redemption aspect is definitely an interesting piece. My understanding is Panini's been pretty good about helping out on bigger redemptions post expiration. Panini actually does a pretty good job of that. But yeah, it's things I think about a lot. Joe Burrow's a redemption in Contenders, right? So he's a redemption in there. A lot of those are live, but what happens when they expire? LaMelo's a redemption in a lot of things. He's not a redemption in Flawless. He's not a redemption in National Treasures. Those are the two big basketball products, but he is in Prism. He's a redemption in other products too. So definitely
Mosaic, Optic. He's in a bunch of them. Contenders,
a bunch,
Optic,
a bunch. And there's not a lot of live LaMelo autos if you look. I mean, he was in Black. He's in Contenders draft picks. He's in a few things, but he's definitely not all over the internet in terms of live. There are some redemptions, but so it's kind of a key thing you got to think about. Same thing with Select with XRCs, right? Once the XRC expires of Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes or whoever it is, does that still have value later? Because that's an added bonus in Select. So some things to think about, but those are just a couple things that run through my mind.
Yeah, I think the one thing I was going to say to tag on top of Ryan there was like, if you're talking about holding wax for flipping purposes, I think it's important to be extremely selective about what you're doing with that. Like I don't necessarily think you should be holding Chronicles basketball for extended periods of time, right? Like you should focus your energy on a Prism or a Select or an Optic. I think there was a little bit of a gold rush. I think there was a little bit of a gold rush on everything wax related last year at some point, and that's kind of calmed down now. So that's all I would say there. Just be smart and selective.
My take on it, and it is the same as it's been, and we've gotten a little of flack, but more than ever, I think the highest month ever is New York for sports gambling is going to be this past month in New York. The highest handle, right? Sports betting, New York, first month. I view it as like, think about a blackjack table and there was only X amount of hands that could ever be played. Like the reality is now, same with smoking weed. People smoke weed, yet it's illegal. Like people were always gambling on sports and there's no difference. So that's what I view as sealed wax. And if you can have a long-term horizon, like the demand is not going to stop. And I mean, no matter what the product is.
Yep.
Same thing people tell me about NFTs. Why would you collect? I'm like, everyone collects things no matter what. Everyone also has a risk thing. People are like, I don't gamble, yet they're the homie that buys the $2 scratch off randomly. That combined with long term, to me, wax is like kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah,
like there's
sexy.
a certain
it's not sexy, but if you want to build your bankroll in kind of a choppy time, letting the market settle out, let the PSA backlog come through, figure out what the new supply looks like in terms of slabs out there. Just feels like a safe way to approach it. And you don't have to go buy NT. I mean, there's a lot of other products for the everyday collector to stash some of that away, diversify what they have.
I completely agree.
And I think that's a big thing, Jason, is that, it doesn't have to be all single cards or all wax.
Right.
They can kind of, they can go hand in hand, right? Flip your card for $2,000, take 1,000 of that dollars, buy some Prism basketball megas even that you believe in for 5, you want to hold back for 5 years, and you just throw back and you slowly accumulate this card stash and this wax stash. So as time passes, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and goes up.
Got it.
So
thanks, guys.
Appreciate you coming on.
See you next week.
Have a great day.
All right, we're
Jay's
going to
running the
back to
show.
back here real quick. So Brett from Stacking Slabs is up next.
Oh, Brett,
My guy.
please make this a wrestling question, please.
Wrestling's gonna be involved, Lou.
Okay,
because
good.
I know I hear you talking about it out there. But
Thank God.
thanks for having me on, fellas. Love your show. Part of the reason I appreciate what you guys are doing is you give airtime to kind of these emerging markets and alternative plays when so much of the hobby is about the big football, basketball, and baseball. And so what I want to dig in with you all on is we've seen growth, right? I know Tyler is a soccer guy, seen growth in soccer. F1, you all have been talking about Marvel cards, WWE, wrestling stuff. I think people talk about them, people get excited, and people go make plays, buy cards. And then sometimes we see those markets go down and fall flat. I guess like what I want to pitch to you all is like, what do you think needs to be true in these emerging markets for them to not just be like hit and run opportunities for flippers and kind of have that long-term sustainable growth?
It's an interesting question
Great
because
question.
a lot of times when you're talking about like I'll speak for F1 specifically, kind of like my thought process on F1, because you're right, like there's always things that come and go. Fortnite is one of the things that I was like, maybe it's just not going to happen, so I kind of like lost interest in it. I was at the very beginning. I think Tyler still has his box. Like we were looking at all that
when we walked around at National. Yep.
Yeah, and like I was kind of I was interested then, and then I was like, maybe not, and I didn't say anything about it, and I didn't talk about it at all because I was like, whatever. F1, I kind of felt the energy coming already. There was a little bit of a tide of like viewership and social media chatter. And a lot of times it starts with like influencers isn't the right word, but like important people talking about it on Twitter, and that kind of like drives conversation that way. And then you look for other markers, right? Like, is there a Netflix show? Is there a really big star? Is there a legend? I saw Lewis as like a legend, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, people can get into this now, and they can watch it every Sunday morning. It's a little bit of a variation of the soccer thing, like pre-American football on Sundays. There's F1 races on in the morning. I'm like, that's cool. So it's sort of like you're just looking for little markers of actual like something that can sustain long term. I think something like a tennis is like a little bit different to the average viewer because like tennis has been around on US televisions for years now, and it kind of never has caught on. So yeah, I kind of just look for different markers and go from there.
For me, I keep going back now. It's like just my thematic of these answers is, I guess the definition of like what is sustainability. Right? These cards come out, market, Fortnite cards in general. Marvel was hot, right? We were talking Marvel as a core and base shot up, came down, and then you get the Spider-Man sale 7 months later, and we're going to have a crazy Batman sale, and we're going to see this stuff. And there's certain people that would be like, Marvel's dead. And I'd be like, well, I don't necessarily believe that to be true. And it depends on what you're trying to get into it. At the end of the day, if we're talking about investing and sustainability and investing, low supply, by and large, right? Think about the volatility of Bitcoin or something like that, and you're talking about 21 million supply x, infinity. So when there's low supply and the demand, like the volatility is going to be crazy. And so in a short term on these alt markets, if that's what you're looking for, you shouldn't play it. If you're willing to have a 5, 7, 10-year time horizon, that's where I think the sustainability combo comes in. But I'm not here to say that there is a sustainability in what's happened to F1 cards in the last 6 months. You want to know why? Because look at the numbers of growth of just purely watching the sport. You know what's not sustainable? That level of growth either. Right? It's like Fortnite. Like what Fortnite did over those 2 years is insane. To expect that product to continue to do that forever is insane. So that's going to cool off, as should then the market. But if you look at Fortnite in a 10-year span, I believe people are still going to be playing it in 10 years. And so if you can think about it that way, it shifts the combo. That's how I would think about it. Don't talk to me about a 6-month sustainability in Marvel when you just bought something for $10 and sold it for $100 and you want that to be sustainable. What are we talking about here? That's fun, right? I'd love that for everything.
Can I make a quick point before Ryan jumps in? I just don't want to lose it. Tyler said something about like there was the big run up for the Marvel cards and it came down, and then there was the Spider-Man sale. I just kind of thought about this in my head. Is like liquidity necessarily like an indicator of sustainability? Like it's almost like I would rather it be like a longer tail between big sales, because that's indicative of interest, right? The day-to-day sales and like the playing the game of trying to catch it at the right moment is almost like the opposite of what we're talking about. Fireman, fire energy. All right, sorry, Ray.
Meaning, I believe in this card massively in a 10-year window.
Yeah.
And it might be down a little bit from where I'm at right now, but I damn well know in 10 years, I can hold this up and everyone's going to know what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I know we got to get to the next one, so there's not really a lot to say. I would agree a lot with what Tyler's, what Tyler said, right? I think a lot of these emerging markets aren't 6-month plays if you believe in them. They're 10-year plays. Like they both said, as these markets continue to gain interest and the card market continues to grow, you'll see continued growth in those, but at the rates they're currently growing, or they grow at sometimes, that's never going to be a sustainable thing. No different than, you see it in sports too, right? It's not like Luca's market's always been going up. It goes down too. No different than Pokemon dropped, or no different than F1 might, or Marvel or WWE or anything. Like, it happens across other ones. People see that in the emerging markets and be like, hey, this was just a pump and dump. People were just trying to get Marvel to the moon. They were trying to get Pokemon to the moon. They're trying to get F1, and they're just going to dump them. But I believe in Lewis Hamilton autographs from the first ever Topps Dynasty product 10 years from now, more than I believe in a second year Luka Doncic patch auto that is signed on a sticker that's not a game worn jersey. So, like, again, I know they're not apples to apples, but I agree a lot with what Lou and Tyler said.
Thanks a lot, fellas.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Good seeing you, Brett.
All right, Jay Eckelberg 220. Eric.
What up, Eric?
Oh wait, is this the Detroit Tigers Facebook group guy?
The Twins group, yeah, the Twins.
The Twins, yes.
Yeah.
Mauer?
Dealer's choice question here. I can ask a neutral collector one or more spicier overall sports one. What do you guys feel?
Spicy overall sports.
Spicy.
Where are you guys at?
Okay, so
Spicy for sure.
who are the top 2 to 3 pro athletes you wish starting tomorrow they would fail so hard they immediately have to retire from the sport?
Oh, wow.
We know who loses.
Which athlete do I want to fail? I mean, that's a pretty obvious question for me. I can pick a different one if you want me to.
He said 2 to 3. He said 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go Josh for sure. Far and away number one. It's not even close. Great guy. I hope he has a wonderful... All of these people, I hope they all have wonderful lives.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen, Aaron Judge, easily. Close number 2, actually. And then number 3 would probably Max Verstappen.
Ty, you got any?
Ty's gonna be like, I don't hate.
It's a hard, it's a hard question for me if I'm being honest.
Spicy answer.
I used to say the Red, like anyone on the Red Sox. Like I would say Nomar Garciaparra was like the guy that I disliked the most, and then probably, but then the Red Sox Yankees started doing the whole like Johnny Damon like plays for us now thing and like that. So like my hate for generally I would say Boston sports. I would say Boston sports. By and large, I had such and still do have such a disdain for. They've just now dominated our face for a long time, so it's like hard to go there. New York just retired. The New York Rangers just retired a player's number that didn't win a championship to show where New York sports stands. So it's hard for me to bury anything. But it would be the Celtics, the Red Sox, the Bruins, all of them lose every time.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about like my number one answer. It's not even close. Would be anything involving the University of Michigan football team. Like I wish they would just like
like the strength trainer,
program,
the AD,
like just like from the top down. Like just everybody doesn't like the whole program shuts down. Like they could close the college. Like very anti. I mean, just like.
So you want Harbaugh? You want Harbaugh to the Raiders? Bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, no. They already signed McDaniels. Like, I want Harbaugh to go to like the CFL, like
that
real
story's
bad.
So crazy, by the way.
And then it would be. I would agree with Lou. It would be Verstappen. I'm not a Max guy, not at all. Like he gets a lot of love.
Max might be my guy.
Yeah, he's just not a fan. So I'm Team Lewis. So I would agree with Lou on that. That it would definitely be Verstappen, but he's way down here. Michigan's way, way, way up top.
What about you?
I have 3 strong enemies, and I didn't realize you guys didn't, so that's tough.
But for me?
Yeah, you.
So number one, I mean, I've always hated Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's a terrible human being.
Yeah, fair.
My biggest rivalry one is I'm actually a big international men's wrestling fan for Team USA.
Fire. Let's go.
There is a big rivalry at the 97 kilogram weight class of Kyle Snyder from Team USA and Abdul Rashid Sajalayev, who's now like considered like the GOAT of wrestling. They've had a huge rivalry in the past like 4-year like Olympic cycle.
Give it to me real quick. The US dude, 97 kilogram.
Kyle Snyder.
Kyle Snyder, Ohio State legend.
Yep, Ohio State.
So who's the other homie?
Abdul Rashid Sajalayev.
And where did he wrestle? Did he wrestle in college or international?
Is he Russian?
He's Russian. But so real quick, first match they wrestled, Snyder beat him 6-5 with a last-second takedown to win the world title for Team USA. Sajalayev pinned him in 2018, and then they wrestled in the Olympics, and Sajalayev beat him in the last like minute of the match, basically.
This guy has 1.4 million followers on Instagram.
Oh, this is real shit. This is real shit. Eric's not playing around. 97 kilograms is like what, 145 or something like that? 155?
212.
Oh, 212.
Yeah,
What's like, so that's, I mean,
Dude,
that's
this
a
dude's
little bit on the
brawling.
big side, right?
Oh, they're. I mean, if you ever look up like Kyle Snyder like on Instagram and stuff, he's just a massive human being.
So that's heavyweight.
No, the heavyweight's like 260. It's 125 kilos.
Who's the homie from Minnesota? Because I'm pretty sure we talked about him literally last episode.
Gable Stevenson.
The guy
I want
with
Gable
WWE
Stevenson rookies bad. Yeah, the WWE guy, NIL like darling.
legend.
Oh yeah.
NIL is the coolest thing ever. My man's went to the Olympics, won a gold medal, caught a bag, and then went back on campus. Like, what's good?
Yeah, I love that.
It was insane. They actually wrestled Michigan a couple days ago, and Gable literally just pushed over the Michigan heavyweight like he was like a rag doll. It's a very
crazy.
Love it. All right, Eric. Good seeing you, brother.
Yeah, have a good one.
Elizabethtown, nice shirt. My cousin went to college there, played lacrosse.
That's where I went. It's a great place.
Love it. You guys had good times there. I'll tell you that much.
All right, we got one last final guest. We're about to wrap this up. Is it JPD85?
I have to shout out my Uncle Keith, who's a New Jersey wrestling legend for St. Peter's Prep, legendary coach. I know he's going to listen. I know he loves wrestling, so I just wanted to give him some love.
Really? Shout out. Also, Tom Cruise wrestled in New Jersey for Glen Ridge High School.
Interesting. All right, Jay.
Sorry
That's
they made you wait,
crazy.
Jason.
JP, what up? I love
what's
a
up,
good
guys?
call in from the car.
So just it's got to take a quick break from work to catch up with you guys. But I don't really have a question. I just more of an appreciation for you guys. I was probably like a lot of people that watch the show, kind of a Gary guy from a long time ago. And I remember when you guys started 1:37 p.m. and then you guys started the podcast. And I just want to say I've learned a lot from you guys over the years. I'm a reseller of all sorts of things on eBay, and I've learned a lot from selling cards and collecting cards now. I've got a nice little PC. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so I've got the roughest no playoff streak in baseball history. But I still love my Mariners. I got hope for them this year. I know Lou really loves the Mariners. Just kidding. But love a good rivalry. Yeah, just got to say, love you guys. Keep up the good work, and you guys are teaching a lot of people valuable stuff. So
I appreciate that,
nice.
Pete.
Thank you.
The Mariners have had some fresh young players like back in the day. I feel
Yeah.
like the Mariners was
They
like,
got some studs.
they were
now.
hot.
they've got the most one that got away than any other team.
I feel like they have a lot of one that got away.
The Mariners are great at raising players that play on other teams eventually.
Yep. So hopefully they can remember to hang on to a few this season.
Julio Rodriguez is really good, though. You should be excited about him.
Yeah, I'm very excited about Julio. It should be a good year. It'll be a competitive year this year, hopefully. So,
Is there anything that we can bring some awareness to while you come on and give us love?
Just leave a little meat on the bone when you're trying to sell a card. You're not going to be the last person that card probably goes through. People will appreciate you. They'll come back to you also if you don't do them dirty. So take care of people, show them the appreciation they deserve, and give people the roses when they deserve them too.
I love that, Jay.
Good advice.
I appreciate that, man.
Thank you,
That's a
bro.
good way to get the day going.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming
brother.
on, Jason.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thank
All
you,
the
guys.
best for the rest of the day. We'll see you soon. Keep in touch, all right?
Take care.
See you
See
later.
ya.
Can you believe Tom Brady retired and didn't thank the Patriots?
It's crazy. And it's
I
also the
can't
first
believe
mention that we brought up on the podcast at this point. I can't believe he didn't. That was it, bro.
It's not like Ryan cares. He has the Bengals, but like for Patriots fans.
Also,
out there,
what app did he write that note in?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like you got like $1 gazillion. Like maybe to make a video.
Give me something.
No video production.
Come on.
I thought Joe Rogan, wherever you stand on him, he put out like a 10-minute video, like addressing the whole Spotify thing. It was great.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck.
It was like, I'm gonna tell a Neil Young story.
I'm gonna
completely change the subject. He's like, I love you, Neil Young. I went to your show back in the day.
Just leave it alone.
All right, I gotta run, so we're gonna wrap this one up. But good episode.
Releases quick.
There's nothing this week. It's all next week.
Isn't that good for you? Then you can leave on time.
There's nothing that good this week. It's all like just nothing major.
Right.
Nothing even like no football, basketball, baseball, nothing.
This was my favorite card I owned before Saturday.
Come on, Ty. Brutal. All right, Brian, sign us off.
That's all I got for now.
Appreciate
Peace.
you, Rye. Good seeing you, brother. Always. Lou, all the best. Michigan, Bengals, 137. Peace.
See ya.